Here at Helmuth Ford, we are a small town dealership with no hassle and no pressure.
Delta Fire and Rescue presents the Delta Haunted House at 109 North Center Street in Delta. Admission is just $10 per person. The Delta Haunted House is open each Friday and Saturday throughout October and on Halloween night from 8 to 10 p.m. Food and drinks will be available for purchase and now accepting cash and most major credit cards. It's the Delta Fire and Rescue Delta Haunted House, Fridays and Saturdays in October and on Halloween night. The City of Sigourney will be accepting bids for the removal of snow. All sealed bids must be received by 4 p.m. on Monday, November 4th at the City Clerk's office at 100 North Main in Sigourney. Interested parties will be responsible for snow and ice removal from the sidewalks listed on the screen, as well as all the steps into the Memorial Hall. The snow and ice must be removed in a timely manner and according to the City Code of Ordinances. The successful bidder will be responsible to purchase ice melt and provide any equipment used. You may review a copy of the contract by contacting the City Clerk at City Hall. The 2024 Hunter's Breakfast, provided by Watch Your Fire and Rescue, is this Saturday, October 26th, at the Watch Your Fire Station from 7 to 11 a.m. They'll have sausage, bacon, eggs, pancakes, biscuits, and gravy, and carry-out is available. Everyone is welcome, and a free will donation will be accepted. For the 2024 Watch Your Fire and Rescue Hunter's Breakfast this Saturday morning from 7 to 11 a.m. at the Watch Your Fire Station. The Albia After Prom Haunted House is open Friday and Saturday nights in October from 8 to 11 p.m. Admission is just $10. Free parking at the Monroe County Fairgrounds in Albia. It's the Albia After Prom Haunted House. Fridays and Saturdays in October from 8 to 11 p.m.
We hope to see you there.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast. The For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast. That's the podcast by the fan for the fan. We're powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. I, of course, am your host, Never Wrong Nick Bull. So happy to have you along another journey with us, episode 153. We'll get to that in a moment. But I wouldn't be remiss if I did not mention my co-partner, my co-tag team championship partner of the For Frequency Sake Network. That is the one, the only, the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing?
Man, I'm a bit tired. It's been a long weekend. Had a lot going on, but I'm feeling good. I'm excited. Another episode of the show, and we've got a unique episode today.
Yes, we do.
We have coming into the studio in just a moment, we're going to welcome the co-CEO of the Wrestling Society Network. He is Herman Cade, better known as Professor Bear. And let's welcome him in here right now. Professor, welcome to Card Subject to Change. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're part of the show. Glad to get you in the room, and most importantly, glad to talk wrestling. I'm going to ask you what I ask, all our other first-time members of the show, first-time guests of the show. Why pro wrestling? What got you into wrestling, and why has it kept you here all these years? Or maybe you're just a newer fan. We don't know that, but why pro wrestling?
Pro wrestling is because of my father, Herman Cade Sr. He was a big wrestling fan. So, and at that time, when Dad liked something, everybody liked it. Don't care if you didn't like it, you were gonna like it. So he used to take us to different shows like every week or 2 weeks or whenever they had them. He was a big wrestling fan. And particularly on Saturday, we lived in Knoxville, Tennessee, so we used to get Atlanta stations. So on Saturdays, 6:05, you either were out the house already. If you was in the house, you were quiet. If you were down in the living room with Dad, you better had your mouth shut and enjoyed the show.
So
6:05 on a Saturday night was an institution, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can't. It was Georgia Championship Wrestling, and by God, you were going to even. It was so bad that even the neighbors' kids knew if we were gonna get out the house, do it before that, because you ring that doorbell, you were likely gonna either A, get cussed out, B, go sit in the corner, or C, after he called your parents, he was going to whoop you and send you to your parents to whoop you. So everybody knew what 6:05 on Saturday meant. It was like part of the family tradition. And quick funny story that I've never told anybody else. We had a dog. His name was Prince. Prince could ring the doorbell when he was ready to come in the house. Even our dog knew not to ring the doorbell at that time. No lie, I swear to God, that dog was smart. He loved my dog, but he would not do it either.
It sounds like a pretty smart dog there. Professor, you're talking about going to shows at 6:05 Saturday nights. What is your earliest memory of professional wrestling, both on TV and what you've seen in person?
My earliest memories are probably going to be Dusty Rhodes and Thunderbolt Patterson and Ole Anderson. Just those three always stick out to me. And
why do those three stick out to you?
Because they were okay. Well, Ole, he was just miserable in his speak and the way he carried himself. That was, to me, was the grumpy guy. You never wanted. That was that type. If he was your neighbor, you wouldn't step on his grass because you know he would come out, chase you, catch you, whoop your parents, that type of person.
Yep.
So then, of course, Dusty and Thunderbolt, nobody had the gift of gab like those two.
Okay.
And for me, with Thunderbolt being a black athlete, that just automatically was drawn to him because he spoke the way I heard people around me speak. It's like I had representation, and it was like I could be Thunderbolt Patterson if I worked hard enough. Now with Dusty had the gift of gab, and Dusty showed me as a kid there was no color line. He reached out and touched everybody the same. And I love that about Dusty. He could, baby, you know, the American dream is going to be here, and we get the people behind the dream, and the dream is going to take us all the way to the World Heavyweight Championship, baby. So,
oh, that's a great Dusty, by the way. You've been working on that. That's a good Dusty.
So thank you. So yeah, those were my earliest memories. And now, as far as in person, I think the person that comes to mind more often than not is Bullet Bob Armstrong and Ron and Robert Fuller. and Jimmy Golden. They just come to my mind. Those are the ones I actually remember seeing, and the matches, and that, I guess that's what drew me into, oh wow, I definitely want to see what that. Hey, we're going to wrestling when we're going to wrestling again. Is Bob gonna be there? And him and his martial arts move is just like, oh, he's the man. You can be the world champion, but Bullet Bob runs Knoxville, Tennessee.
What was it like meeting those guys? Because I think we've all met wrestlers from time to time. I think we got, for the most part, pretty good stories about meeting wrestlers. But each time's different. Each time's unique. What was it like meeting those wrestlers for the first time when you met them? That you were for the matches you were going to see.
Well, I didn't get to meet them per se. I was just in the crowd.
Okay.
But now I do have I got a few different stories on wrestlers I did meet in person.
Yeah.
So my brother and sister, I got two brothers and I got one sister and two half sisters. Well, my oldest brother and my sister went to Atlanta to live, and they lived together for a little while. And my sister and her husband and my brother all lived together. So my sister had her first child. So I was 15. Yeah, I was 15, and I would go down there and hang out and stay. And this particular time, I'm sitting there playing with my nephew, and my cousin, she is 14, was there. And the doorbell rings. Okay, so I get up, go to the door, open the door, and who's standing in front of me but the Junkyard Dog? I'm like, the look I have on my face now is what I had when he was standing there, like,
Sure.
So it's like, so you're the Junkyard Dog. What the hell are you doing here? And he asked for my brother. So, okay. I said, okay. So I screamed upstairs, hey, B, the Junkyard Dog is here to see you. He's like, well, send him up. Okay. So, yeah, it's like, of course, to him, it ain't nothing. But to me, I'm like, it's the effing Junkyard Dog. Why is he coming to our place? How do you know him? You got to give me some details, because you're not talking. So Junkyard Dog went upstairs, and till this day, and I still don't know how this happened. I've seen people fall on the steps, they miss the step and you fall and whatever. He fell up the stairs and missed 3 steps. I, to this day, do not know how he did that. It's like you're standing and you fall, but you bolt yourself over 3 steps. How in the world did you do that? But, amazed. So that was my first real experience that I can remember of meeting a wrestler. And he was just the sweetest as could be, just nice. I think he was supposed to give me and my cousin an autograph, and then he was just running late and forgot. But yeah, he was just a really sweet guy.
That's good. I like meeting wrestlers because these are these larger than life figures, and even if you meet the guys playing the heels, they're the nicest people that you're going to meet. They're very down to earth, and they're very connected with their fan base, as far as I can tell from what the people that I've met. Professor, I know we're going to talk about the network. I want to save that for a little later. I want to hear more of your likes and dislikes in wrestling. So let me ask you, what are you gravitating towards today with the current product?
I guess truthfully, I'm more of an AEW guy. And this is what I try to get people to understand. It's not that I like WWE. I love what Triple H has done and what he's doing for the company is great. I guess the AEW for me is it puts me more into the WCW vibe. And I was, of course, an NWA/WCW person.
Okay.
I like the storylines that go on in AEW. And even though, a lot of them don't go to fruition because people get hurt or whatever, but they will put some context around it to make you understand why they did what they did. They wrestle. When they wrestle, they tell a story. I love wrestlers who can tell stories in the ring.
Yes.
With WWE, the long-term booking has gotten so much better. Triple H has started to wrap things together to make it make sense, to go back, even if it's like a botch, like the Randy Orton and Gunther match at King of the Ring. They had a botch. But Triple H is so good at telling stories, he was able to weave it back together to make it make sense of why Randy was getting a title shot when he's on SmackDown. And that to me, I like, because that treats us fans with respect. That, well, you're stupid, you're just watching and we can do anything. No, they make it where it's consistent. And I love consistent storytelling.
Yeah, sometimes it's fine it's okay to admit mistakes. Sometimes those happen, and when you do that, it gives a more human edge too. Like you understand it. You're more drawn to that. When we talk about AEW a little bit, and you talk about a guy who just lost the championship title over there, and essentially his full-time career, Bryan Danielson. You talk about a guy who tells a story in a ring. That's one guy that's gone full-time now, so that's kind of a bummer for them.
Yeah, but as far as his in-ring career, but he is such an intelligent wrestler, and he's good. He knows he can help behind the scenes and do things and try to keep a sense of order, because I'd be one of the first people to tell you, AEW, they had no order. And I love that he is trying to help get them in a place where everything makes sense. Okay, if you do something, you get punished correctly. It's not about who you are, but it's about following the rules, because no one's above the company. So I like that. And especially with the whole CM Punk issue, I'm really glad, and they need that.
Oh, without a doubt. And I hope he does take a commanding role backstage. I'd like to see him on an on-screen role continuing, even if he's not in the ring. We're talking about Bryan Danielson. He's got, in my opinion, the match of the year so far. I know there's still a couple months left, but him and Will Ospreay from a few months ago just tore it up and told one fantastic story in the ring. You're talking about telling stories in the ring right there. That was a match that I will remember forever.